The Walt Disney Company on the ropes again with Walt Disney World and Disneyland trying to fend off Epic Universe and prevent Universal Studios from taking over as the #1 theme park destination of Central Florida. They unveiled their big plans at the D23 Expo, destroying Frontierland. Oh, that's a good idea. Well, it turns out, as you might have suspected, but they did not, that the backlash was severe. And now we hear they might be giving ear to the possibility of changing plans. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we are changing hearts and minds simply by telling the truth, pulling Disney and other entertainment companies back to the mainstream middle, kicking and screaming, where money can be made. Ideologues they are, but dinero they do love. All right, someone this entire audience loves is Vash Sky of That Pod Place, also known as T3PO, and he's also the co-host of That Part Place, the YouTube channel. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much for having me be back. This is a very interesting story, Pro, and I cannot wait to discuss it with you.
So it's actually humorous to me that they brought this out. They knew it would be unpopular because they hid it at D23, right? They told what was coming, but they didn't tell where it was going. And I think that's because they knew they would be booed off the stage. So, but apparently, even then, they miscalculated just how strong the backlash would be. Vash, I haven't really seen anyone who is really, is supportive of this. Most people, there are trolls who are just trying to get a rise out of people, but even those who have always been on Disney's side, even they have to concede, this is a terrible idea. Folks, what are we talking about? Well, for those of you just joining us, and by the way, if you are new, consider clicking that subscribe button, and no matter if you are new or not, click the like button. But what we're talking about is Disney's plan at the Magic Kingdom, the most valuable asset in the entire company, the biggest theme park in the world in terms of attendance. They're going to greatly change a quarter of the park by filling in the Rivers of America, demolishing Tom Sawyer Island, and replacing all of that with a off-brand Cars attraction that will feature snow-capped Blizzard Beach mountains next to a 1880s gold rush town, and they might be destroying all of Liberty Square too. It's a real fancy thing they're up to. Vash, have you seen any support for this outside of the trolls?
Oh, I really haven't seen any, or I should say much support for this. There have been some trolls. There have been some occasional people who go, well, it's so much better because Rivers of America wasn't used or Tom Sawyer's Island wasn't used. And it's like, yeah, I don't think that's a very popular idea. I see a lot more people saying, hey, couldn't we do this Cars themed area behind the Rivers of America?
They have all the land in the world.
River?
They got all the land they need, Vash. They don't have to destroy anything.
Size. The blessing of size.
So Vash, the people who say that you don't use Tom Sawyer Island, nobody actually goes over there. They're completely confused because every time you walk through Frontierland, you're using the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island to set the entire mood and atmosphere of the land. These are not simply attractions. These are actually the ambiance of the whole thing, a quarter of the park. And we're going to take the beauty of these things and replace them with off-track, off-brand, not main character Cars racers. They'll be making a ton of noise. I for one, can't wait to be in the Haunted Mansion queue and be listening to the sounds of ATV racers, careening over mountains right next to me. That'll set the mood, Vash. It'll set the mood.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow, ka-ching. No, sorry, Disney. You're not going to get any bling. You're not bringing audiences in with this. All right, well, we've got a timeline now, Vash. This is out of WKRC. Disney to remove iconic Magic Kingdom attraction, which first began operation in 1971. That's right. It's the thing that Walt built. Let's get rid of that. But really what we want is we want to go down here. And you can see, it talks about how this was opened in 1971. Goes through the history of the Richard F. Irvine, switch to Liberty Bell in terms of the name. But here's what we need. The bottom two paragraphs are really important to us. The Liberty Bell will continue to operate until at least the end of 2024 per people. Ahead of work revving into high gear next year, guests will have plenty of time to experience the charm and nostalgia of Frontierland as it is today, Disney said in the release obtained by the publication. So in other words, Disney has come out and said they're not making changes now until the end of 2024. Now, why would Disney come out and say, hey, we're not going to touch this thing until 2024? Because it's really unpopular and because they're getting a backlash and people are saying, don't do this. So, Vash, when they talk about the charm and nostalgia of Frontierland, I think it's more than nostalgia at this point. I think that they're stupid. And I've said this vociferously. We'll talk a minute about that they might be getting ready to backtrack a little bit. We'll talk about it. But Vash, the amount of negativity they've received, do you think that it's causing them to have any kind of thoughts about going forward with this plan? I mean, you're talking about changing the park forever in a way that people don't want.
I think it might be having some effect. We know that they've been receptive to this kind of feedback before. We actually have heard a recent instance in which this may have happened, with some executive maybe saying that, oh, well, looks like the offices in the animation building, or something might be happening. This is at Disney Studios.
He got a notice to fix that real quick, didn't he, Vash?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And then we got the rap article, right, from Drew Taylor saying that, hey, this plan to bring Monsters Incorporated Land into Disney Studios, maybe replacing the Muppets, is they're going back and forth on it. And it may have impacted that decision. We know that it impacted the decision.
Shovel ready, Vash. Shovel ready. None of this was blue sky. They knew exactly where it was going until they didn't.
Exactly. And remember that shovel ready thing, that was in response to the 2022 D23 Expo, in which they had the what if segment and so forth, and it was like, okay, these are a lot of blue sky plans, what are you actually going to bring to the table? And they responded by saying, well, these are all shovel ready and so forth. So they have been receptive to the criticism, they have been receptive to the sentiment out there online and so forth. So I do think it is having some effect. Whether or not it's going to have an effect to this extent, I'm not really sure. They have filed permits recently, and it looks like they're going to have staging areas, all around Rivers of America in order to get this accomplished. We'll have to see. I'm hoping it's having an effect, though. I'm hoping they're seeing that, hey, look, listen, taking out water in a theme park that is supposed to be park-like might not be the best idea. Taking out the ambiance that creates that area that makes it so scenic and it has.
Well, when you don't have to, you have the land. You don't have to do this. This isn't an expansion. There's nothing about this. This is an expansion. Vash, I see you have something ready to put up on the screen. May I put it there for you?
Please. Why don't you go ahead?
All right, walk us through, Vash. What do you got?
Right. This is the I guess the staging areas for construction materials that have been filed by Disney in order to start staging for this extensive work right here. This is actually a Blog Mickey article, a closer look at the marginally unsuitable land for Beyond Big Thunder Mountain project at Magic Kingdom. Goes into a lot of stuff that in which this project might be revving into high gear, and has some concerns about maybe some of this equipment actually being viewable from the railroad. That assumes that the railroad is actually operational during this whole thing.
That is the least of my worries, is whether or not you can see construction equipment from the railroad. You're talking about a quarter of the park looking like Epcot for the past 5 years. You're talking about walls everywhere, and you're talking about what's going to come up behind those walls. When the walls come down, it's going to look worse by a factor of 10 than it did when the walls were not there. In other words, what we're getting is far worse than what you have. And nobody wants this, and it'll be this way for a minimum of 30 years. It's going to be as unpopular as the Snow White trailer. So good luck with that, Disney. Well, Vash, before we get into what one of my sources is saying in terms of Disney's, what would we say? Their surprise, because clearly they don't understand their consumers. Here's another source. Another source has a different take on this, and they said they don't care. And the source says when they say that Disney doesn't care, they mean literally. They do not care at all. Zero, nada. They were surprised by the reaction to Splash Mountain, but as opposed to making any kind of changes for the consumer, all they did was switch their PR strategy and then made changes to Jungle Cruise, Peter Pan, Small World, Haunted Mansion, all the stuff they're planning to do extremely quiet. But it didn't change any of the plans that they had going forward. And by the way, we know many of the plans for future attractions. We'll be talking about that on this channel in the future. They think their target customer is someone who has not yet gone to Disney. Existing fans, they do not like and do not care about feedback. If they cared about what customers that go regularly thought and listened to and all the surveys, then they would not have gotten rid of the number one highest rated attraction at Walt Disney World, which had the number one guest satisfaction, because it was satisfactual for decades, Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
As opposed to Disneyland, which genuinely cares about what customers think. This source's position. This source is very well connected, very in the know. So I thought I'd put that out there as the counterpoint to this. Vash, what do you think of the idea that Disney World is run by a bunch of buffoons who don't care about their customers, and Disneyland is run by people who do?
Well, I wouldn't be entirely surprised. Obviously, you have people at Disneyland. I mean, 75% of the annual attendance at Disneyland comes from people within 250 miles of the park, right? It's more of it's the world's most, famous regional amusement park, I think I've heard, and I think that's true. They're a little bit more annual pass holder friendly because they have to get those people to come back every single, on a regular basis. And this strategy is reflected in the Themed Entertainment Association report that recently came out. I think it was number 2 worldwide. Disneyland Park was next to Magic Kingdom. Now, Magic Kingdom, obviously, they are targeting a different demographic, right? They are targeting big spenders, people who actually spend money at the hotels and so forth. Maybe those once in a lifetime or once in a 10-year visitors and so forth. But the thing that I don't understand, Pro, is that this park right here, Magic Kingdom, people keep coming back because of the unique qualities that it has, because of that Rivers of America, because of the castle, because of those things that largely emulate Disneyland in some respect, but also have a quality of their own. You stripping this out right here, I don't even see how the once in a lifetime visitor or the first visitor will necessarily appreciate that, especially with the thematic conflicts that we've been talking about before. I mean, even if you look at the concept art for this thing, you have this chateau.
Gosh, the concept art is so terrible. The idea that you're going to have cartoon off-road racers running by, the golden horseshoe that's set in a different era. All this is so terrible. Yes. I'm a haunted mansion. Good grief.
You have the diamond horseshoe sitting right next to the what is it? The blizzard, the mountains and so forth.
The blizzard beach mountains, what I call them. Yeah.
You have I guess the tree of liberty must be refreshed. Yes, exactly. You have the Matterhorn sitting right there, practically. The Tree of Liberty, I guess, must be refreshed occasionally with motor oil. And you have the chateau facing.
Don't do that, folks. It'll kill it. We promise. Don't oil your trees. They will not survive.
Don't oil your tree.
All right, so let's just show this real quick, Vash. We're looking at a map of Magic Kingdom. They have tons of land. Let's just show. Okay, so all you got to do if you want to put in a Cars Land, you create a new little pathway that goes between Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and the backstage area, and boom, right over here. We're going to measure it again. We've done this before. We'll do it again. You want to do the Cars attraction? How much land do we have? Land. We've got 6 acres there. 6 acres for an entire attraction. You know what? We'll stretch it up here just because. Just so we can, because there's going to be somebody who's going to complain. There you go. Okay, there's our land. We've got 8.5 acres for a single attraction. How big is 8.5 acres? Well, you could put 3 Big Thunder Mountain Railroads in that. That's plenty of land. Everybody happy with that? You want a villain's land? All right, let me give you a villain's land. You ready? Here we go. Everybody get a villain's land ready. All right. We're going behind both Haunted Mansion. We'll come over here. I'll fix this in a minute, folks. Don't worry. Big Thunder, or not Big Thunder. Haunted Mansion, it's a small world going all the way behind New Fantasyland and back over there again. Ka-ching, ka-chow. This is how you make real money, Disney. And what do we got? Well, we got almost 8 acres there. Okay, there's your villain.
Sure.
How big is that? How big is 8 acres? Well, folks, here's the Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride. Okay, we could put 3 of those in there. That's how big it is. You could put 3 Seven Dwarf Mine Rides in that area. There is so much area, it's ridiculous. You could put, let's see, you could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could put 5 It's a Small World show buildings in there. That's how big this is. Yeah. So Vash, they don't have to do this.
Well, I mean, look, they have had creative solutions before when it came to operational problems and so forth. Like Big Thunder, for example. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is very, very interesting because its backstage area, its roundhouse that it keeps all of its coaster cars in, actually is on the opposite side of the train tracks. It's really interesting when operationally they try to bring Big Thunder Mountain Railroad coasters onto the main track there, they actually had to coordinate with the Walt Disney World Railroad in order to make that possible. These were some of the kind of operational challenges that Disney would overcome on the regular in order to, maintain the aesthetics and the beauty of their park to the degree possible. The fact that they're willing to get rid of all of Rivers of America for Cars, a scene that isn't necessarily thematically appropriate with how Big Thunder is conveyed right now, is absolutely bizarre. And like you said, Pro, even at Disneyland, when Disneyland Resort installed Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, that was no easy feat. There were many backstage facilities that had to be relocated, and the river had to be shortened in order to accommodate it. A new marina had to be built for Fantasmic, and all of this stuff had to be done, and yet they did it. And that's a lot more landlocked than Magic Kingdom has ever been.
All right, let's have some more fun, Vash. You ready? Let's measure how much land the Tomorrowland Speedway takes up, and we're going to measure this because all they have to do, if they want to, is they can put in a futuristic Cars ride for Tomorrowland as opposed to putting it over at Frontierland, where there is definitely no reason for Cars to ever be. Almost 4 acres. That one takes almost 4 acres up, which looks to me like about the same size as what they're going to do. So again, no reason to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And you could get a great view of a lot of the landmarks and so forth from the People Mover if you were to implement that. And if you implemented the rock work in a certain way, you can actually cover a large portion of the Tron building. And that could also help with your sightlines and so forth. So there are a lot of...
we're not interested in any of that, though. Of course not. Of course not.
Apparently not.
All right, Vash, let me tell you what I've got from our source. And as we do, I'm going to come back to your map now so folks can see what they're really busy doing. All right, Vash, I've got that Disney is a little bit shocked. The executives, what's caught them off guard. And, we don't normally do this, but I'll say this because it's what the source says. Folks, grain of salt, though. We're in rumor and speculation territory. Source says that Disney is used to channels such as this one being negative about some of the decisions they make. We just think we're being accurate. Hey, how's that Tiana's busted Bayou adventure working out for you, Disney? You can't keep it running, can you? Told you. So they're used to that. What has caught Disney off guard is that their influencers that typically are positive about anything they do are not being positive about this. And they're getting outright negative responses from the influencers. So that is actually catching Disney off guard. And according to the source, it's causing Disney to reconsider some things. And so something that's on the table, although we don't know if it's, if they'll do this, but Vash, I'm hearing that Disney is actually so caught off guard by this that they might keep the bottom loop of Rivers of America and move Cars farther north and move Villains farther north. I'm also told that the Villains concept art, you might as well just not even worry about it. They said that's so far blue sky, shovel ready, their foot. They don't believe it for a second. Again, folks, rumor and speculation territory. But apparently, this is having an effect on Disney, and they are actually considering going to a different layout. Now, Vash, there was another outlet that had that. If you get that ready on your screen, we'll bring that up. I'll show people this again on Google Earth. But as you're pulling it up, Vash, your thoughts on the idea? I mean, I don't like this idea, but it's 100 times better than the idea they have. The idea would be that they keep this bottom loop of Rivers of America. Yeah. That would preserve a lot of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad's ambiance and Haunted Mansion. I still don't like the idea. I would still keep the water that goes by Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And if you got to fill stuff in, you can fill in the east side just past Haunted Mansion. You can fill that in, and then that would give you more land, if that's what you got to do. And then you can fill it in up here north of Big Thunder, if that's what you got to do, and turn the top island of Tom Sawyer's Island. I forget what the name of Fort Langhorne's Island is, but you can turn that into no longer an island. And I don't like that idea as much, but it's 100 times better. And we want to give Disney a plausible thing that they could do that would make people not hate them as much. So they're Disney. That would make us not hate you as much. Vash, what do you got?
Well, no, I do agree with that sentiment right there. This is from Disney Glimpses. I actually think there's a higher than usual probability that WEI reverts or significantly modifies the Rivers of America plan. Not saying it's super high, but I do believe it will be given a second thought. And I think the reason why Disney Glimpses might be saying that is because he might be hearing the same things that you're hearing. I know that Disney Glimpses is very connected with the company and so forth. In capacities that, well, I can't reveal here, obviously, but I know
some of
he
these
has
people have got to be
contacts.
getting nervous, Vash. Some of them have got to be getting nervous. They're starting to agree with me. It's got to be getting.
Well, yes.
I kid. I don't know anything about Disney Glimpses other than as you said, we think they're well connected and a good source, and so we applaud them. Go Disney glimpses, and we've come to respect some of the outlets out there that have learned from the Splash Mountain situation. Disney glimpses may have been totally against Tiana's the whole time. I don't know, but yeah, Vash, I think people are coming around. I think this Tiana's Bayou Adventure woke people up. It doesn't work. It doesn't function. So it's got people saying, do we really want to destroy what Walt designed for this new crop of Imagineers to destroy?
Well, a couple things on that, Pro. Tiana's by Adventure, I think, is a great example, like a great turning point for WDI. I mean, look, Chef Gordon Ramsay always says, right, you're only good as your last dish. That's your last dish right there, is Tiana's by Adventure. And so a lot of people, when looking at this concept art, and remember, folks, we got 3 pieces of concept art, and then another piece of concept art the day after the expo ended for this Cars project. So we know that's much more advanced than Villains Land, which we only got one very brief glimpse of concept art 4. But looking at Tiana's,
Villains Land is about as accurate as that Beyond Big Thunder Mountain Railroad stuff we got last year. Remember all that? Yeah,
exactly, right.
We're not beyond anymore. Yeah. It's like
right. But people have looked at that Tiana's concept art and they go, okay, well, we were promised one thing and we got another. So when they're looking at the concept art for Villains or for Cars or for Monsters or for any of these other projects, there's a little bit of skepticism, actually a lot of skepticism when looking at those, because they know, look, we have been through this before. You promised the world, and when it's delivered, it's far under those expectations. So even this,
it's the bad lesson. People are mocking the Cars concept art because it's stupid. It looks stupid, and it's the best you could ever hope for it to be because it won't be that good. And it looks stupid. And you think you're going to get that? You're going to get dumber. Look at this, Vash. If you just go back to Google Earth and just look at this, the colors of Splash Mountain, even though it was not set in the right era, they still worked their butts off to make it match the rest of Frontierland's color schemes. It blends in with Big Thunder perfectly. And now it looks like the back end of Tafiti dropping logs. It's terrible. It's garish. It looks like Hobby Lobby puked out their floral aisle in a giant pile of WDI vomit. It's awful.
Well, and people are looking at this, and they're going, well, wait a minute. We know the quality of your work before. Is this what we are to expect from your projects going forward? And even the Cars stuff doesn't look that impressive. So people are thinking, okay, it's not even going to look this good, and we're going to lose Rivers of America for it? No, thank you. And I think that's where the pushback is coming from.
Epcot doesn't work. Vash, the lights in the ground don't even work anymore. The Communicore is just empty. Airport lounges have better atmosphere than it. They showed this Spaceship Earth lounge off that they're going to finally use, and it looks like it's the lobby of a Marriott. Like they have run out of any Disney style ideas. It is done. Yeah. So people, wake up now and send in your complaints, because otherwise you can kiss the magic of the Magic Kingdom goodbye. I mean, and they won't stop. You listen. How long is it going to take, Vash? How long is it going to take? They did this to Splash Mountain. They gave us Tron, which is a complete waste of space. All that effort, and it's like a 45-second ride. Folks, I'm here to tell you, you can choose to fight back and say, don't destroy a quarter of your park here, or it's going to be Main Street next. Which one you want? You want Main Street changed to Mickey Avenue, and you want it, all of the Americana taken out of it? You want all of Liberty Square removed? Like, where's it going to be? Where is it that you are going to say, you know what? We've had enough of the cultural arsonists, the people who actually hate Walt. We've had enough of it, because you got to pick somewhere or else it's all going to be gone. And they're not going to stop, because their jobs, Vash, are tied to finding offense anywhere they can. So if they run out of things to be offended by, i.e. Tom Sawyer Island, i.e. Rivers of America, i.e. Hall of Presidents, if they run out, everybody listen, this is just basic logic. If they run out of things to be offended by, they are out of jobs. They will never run out of things to be offended by, and that means they will never stop changing wonderful, beautiful things that would offend nobody except these people who fabricate all kinds of offense in order to continue their careers. Vash, final word on it.
No, I think you're 100% right. I mean, what we saw with Peter Pan recently, what we're seeing with Rivers of America, what we're seeing with, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I mean, there's they're definitely stripping out the Americana from this whole
Well,
place.
they got scared on the Peter Pan one. They had a whole different idea. We got the best, and that might give some hope. Oh, listen, the original plan was to strip all of that out of Peter Pan. So the fact that they left Tiger Lily in there, that's pretty good compared to what we had talked about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Ooh, so
well,
maybe they're hesitating.
I hope so. I mean, I hope 2 Hours by Adventure was a wake up call, and I hope these influencers kind of speaking out and saying, "Hey, look, listen, we don't like this either." I hope that's a big.
They're losing their viewers, Vash. These influencers, listen, they're stuck between this deal where they've got to be all positive about Disney to get the access, but at the same time, listen, I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but the reason this channel leapfrogged so many, and the reason that your channel is going to leapfrog, and the channel that Park Place is leapfrogging, and you can see it's not just us. Folks, go out there, go to Social Blade and look up some of the ones that are telling the truth. They go up tremendously. Okay? Yeah. I could name them, but I don't know if they would want me to name them. But go look up the ones that are actually out there telling the truth and being critical. Their viewership is skyrocketing, and the influencers who are determined to follow whatever Disney wants so they get their special cupcakes, their viewership is declining. Okay? So they're in that rock and a hard spot because they don't know what to do, and it seems like Disney is finally losing them. Vash, I said I'd give you the final word. I meant it. I'll try again. Vash, final word.
Final word. Well, look, you have Epic Universe across the way, right? It opens in 2025, whereas Disney's playing catch up and everything. What are they saying? They're saying we're putting the park back in theme park. I believe Mark Woodbury, the chief creative officer, basically of Universal Creative, said that on the initial Epic Universe video. And you look at Celestial Park, you see all the water, you see all the greenery, you see everything, and they truly are putting the park back in theme park. They understand what people want. They understand what people come to a theme park to see. They don't come to see, just a slab of concrete, and maybe some false rock work. They really do come to be transported into a different time, different place, and that relaxing ambiance, that amazing west side of Magic Kingdom is why people really gravitate to that park in a way that maybe they don't in some of the locations. So I hope Disney gets the message. I really do, but I don't know. I worry about Liberty Square. I worry about Main Street, like you said. I worry about Carousel Progress. All these other things that are probably going to change, and I think a lot of people are as well. They look at those concepts like Monsters Inc. Land, for example, and they go, what are we getting? Like, what are we going to lose for this? What are we going to lose for Villains Land? What are we going to lose for this Cars concept right here? There's a lot more trepidation happening in the Disney side of things than in the Universal side.
You know why nobody got upset when Disney built Tower of Terror so long ago? Because they didn't destroy anything. You know why people got excited about Rock and Roller Coaster? They didn't destroy anything. You know why people got excited? I mean, I can keep going. We can just keep, we can do a dozen of these things. But the Disney of today doesn't know how to do anything without destroying. So, and they don't have to. They choose to. Doesn't make any sense. That's why they're playing catch up to Epic Universe. That's why Epic Universe is bringing the mustard. Sorry, it's a bad joke. We'll end it there. All right, folks, get over there and check out that pod place, also known as T3PO. Vash is leading the charge over there. Get subscribed today and say that you were part of that first cadre of people over there hanging out with him. And folks, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts and tell us, do you think they'll actually give up on this lunacy? Or do you think that we're heading for a Magic Kingdom without the beauty of the rivers of America? All right, folks, we will see you real soon. More videos on the way, 3 times a day, thrice as nice. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Floral, it's time for you to walk the plank.
What? Why?
Because you haven't subscribed to WDW Pro yet. Nor bookmark thatparkplace.com on your web browser to get great articles from great contributors.
What?